about AI for the names under your coverage. Explain why.
Yes, thank you. So if you look back at 2024, the 21% growth we had in the global semis revenues were all driven by AI compute, basically. And if you strip AI compute out, actually the market was down 1%. Looking into next year, we expect AI to remain the main growth driver. We expect AI compute semis revenues to grow 40%. Year over year, but we expect the non-AI portion to actually grow about 19%. About 70%. And that will basically be a result of several factors. Number one, we expect to see some of the depressed markets like auto and industrial normalizing into 2025. Number two, we expect some restocking around those markets as well. Number three, we see outside of cloud compute some content growth in devices to support edge AI or on-device AI as well in terms of capabilities. So if you put all that together, actually non-AI cloud compute semis could contribute to growth next year. However, if you extrapolate into 2026, then actually you realize that AI is likely to remain, again, the main growth driver. And if you look back to where we would be by then versus where we were in 2022, actually the non-AI compute portion of semis revenues is not really growing.
Nicolas, who then, on balance, is doing the best job of monetizing AI amongst the names under your coverage?
So bear in mind, you're not allowed to talk about single names, but in terms of categories, we expect the main beneficiaries in semis for AI to remain the accelerator providers, whether they're graphics chip providers or differentiated chips, leading edge foundries as well, and then memory. On the non-AI compute side, we should actually see the analog semiconductor vendors and microcontroller vendors somewhat catching up in terms of growth as well as those vendors providing solutions for higher-end smartphones as well.
Nicolas, I got to ask you, I mean, upstream, right? Are you focused also on software? Because the next leg or stage of AI is going to be inference, right? So they're going to be important, one. And two, this morning we've been talking a lot about Samsung, also SK Hynix, along with everybody else right there in Vegas at the CES, right? Talking about finally being able to push AI out in devices, right, for consumers. I know Samsung and Hynix are both on your list.
Right. So again, not going on single names.
I'll say it.
Conceptually, the way to look at it is, obviously some of the value add in AI will be software, but at the end of the day, a lot of that value creation will remain with the large hyperscalers, which, give or take, are monopolizing about 70% of the AI compute capex, basically going forward. So that's where the value generation will be with the top four names in the US in particular. But at the end of the day, this will still drive a significant growth in AI compute semis revenue. So looking at it differently, if we go back to 2022, AI compute semis revenues were in the range of about $20 billion. If you look at 2026, that should be about $300 billion. Right, so very, very significant growth. That's basically AI processors as well, working alongside AI processors, memory like high bandwidth memory. So in that context, we would expect the memory makers to remain beneficiaries, especially those exposed to DRAM, but basically three of them globally. On the edge AI side, actually, we will see also some accretion in content going forward, in particular for DRAM memory to enable that compute. In addition to that, you'll see chipsets which will be more and more complex in terms of compute capabilities. All of that will come at a price, obviously. If you look at high-end chipsets provided by the top two vendors in the world, the price of a solution has been going up by 30 to 40% versus prior generation. So one key question here is, are customers actually ready to pay for edge AI-enabled devices going forward, or could we see some negative price elasticity because all of that comes at a cost?